Let me introduce you to one of the proud supporters of From the Hawkeye of the Storm, Iowa floor covering down in Bondurant. Now, for the last year and a half, you've heard me talk about this great company in the heart of central Iowa. They've got their tough core, click together, 4.5 millimeter waterproof vinyl flooring, great for you DIYers out there. But even if you're just a contractor or you need a different type of flooring, they've got you covered, whether it be tile showers, carpet. Give Iowa Floor Covering a chance to serve you better and serve your flooring needs. Visit them online at iowafloorcovering.com. That's iowafloorcovering.com, or you can give them a call at 515-379-7000. That's 515-379-7000. Thank you to Iowa Floor Covering in Bondurant. We appreciate Iowa Floor Covering for being a part of our coverage here at From the Hawkeye of the Storm, and I'm joined by my co-host, Kachine Alexander, who is with us on a Thursday evening from the East Coast. Kachine, thank you for taking another evening out of your busy week. You're back to the Snuggie game, which is a pleasant surprise for all of us. Shouldn't be.
Of course. It's one of those days.
It is one of those days. What's the weather like in Charlotte?
It's been cold the last couple of days, which is why I'm probably not really feeling it. Not
as cold as it is here.
Of course not. Well, last week we were in the 70s. So going back down to low 50s, high 40s is not fun.
Yeah,
and it was raining the last couple of days too. So you know how that goes.
70s is rough. 70s is real rough. We had negative 25 wind chill this morning.
What? Yeah, no. That's why no.
So that's why you don't live in Minnesota. You grew up in Minnesota. You know what that's like, right?
Not anymore.
Not anymore. Spoiled.
Yep.
Spoiled.
By choice. Thank you.
By choice. Yep. Amen. Proud of you. All right, folks, we are recapping the Iowa women's basketball team's 55-43 win over the Rutgers Scarlet Knights. It was a first quarter, Kachine, that one could say was ugly. Iowa was down 10-2 quickly. And this was without Rutgers' leading scorer, someone that you had told all Hawkeye fans a couple of days ago to watch out for. She was out with an injury tonight. This was a very overmatched Scarlet Knights bunch. But let's start with the first quarter. What was it that got Iowa off to such a slow start, and what was it about Rutgers that got them an 8-point lead and prompted a timeout from Jan Jensen?
Within the first probably 3 to 4 down and backs like this. That's what I mean when I say down and backs. I knew already. I was like, oh boy. Only because we didn't have the same urgency. We didn't have the same energy. We did not have anything that we've had the last couple of games to start that game. It was weird. Maybe they came in thinking they got it. I don't know. I'm not 100% sure. But that whole first quarter, it just kind of seemed like we were still waking up, which I was nervous only because I don't think they've shown on a consistent basis that they're that team where, oh, we'll get it. We'll be fine, So I was a little nervous because you allow a team like Rutgers to stay around long enough, it could always bite you in the butt. So, but Lucy's she's putting the team on her back, man. That's all I can say with that. You can couple that with Sydney Falter and what she's been doing the last couple games, and we're doing very, 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 very well in that aspect. I think what set us apart, or what allowed us to create a little bit of distance, was our defense, which seems to be identity of this team right now for us to be successful. But yeah, the turnover, everything was just sloppy in the first 2, 3, 4 minutes. It just was sloppy. We're throwing unforced turnovers, passes were like, what are you looking at? So I think that first quarter, I don't know where we were, but I'm glad we got it together. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I mean, you go across the board. First of all, let's correct the stat here. I always get some stat wrong. Taylor McCabe did not have 17 points, so forgive me for that stat. That is, how many points did Taylor have? Did she make?
I think she had like two.
Okay, I was gonna say that's an old stat. She had 2 points in the night. So really, the production tonight came from basically two people, at least on offense, and Sydney Falter, who made 2 threes, and then Lucy Olson, who scored 27 on 11 of 19 shooting. She was phenomenal, and she has been phenomenal. How about this stat? This is when I was looking through the team stats, this was the first thing that stood out, Kachine. Rutgers was 8 of 32 on shots inside the three-point arc. That is horrendous. Like, I know they're down their best player. And by the way, Rutgers has not stated what the reason for Keomi McMiller being out is. She was suspended, I think, last month at one point is what I read, and there was no designation on why she was out today. But regardless, 8 of 32 from inside the three-point arc. They made 7 threes, made 8 twos. That's bad. They are not a good team. This was a very, I don't want to say a lethargic win for Iowa, but
that's a great word.
It felt kind of like they just sleepwalked through a team that was just totally overmatched, even without the performances, the typical performances from people like Stulke or O'Grady or even Taylor McCabe, who's been making threes of late.
I think, yeah, the game was lethargic. Like I said, we played anybody semi-able to hit the side of a barn. We could have easily lost that game. I'll take it, though. Win to win at this point. I mean, Nebraska just demolished Maryland on their home court. So at this point, I'll take it.
Yeah, tell us your thoughts on that matchup, or that result, I should say.
That's a bad loss for Maryland. To lose like that on your home court is a bad loss.
Does that say is it just, hey, life in the Big Ten, life in high major?
Life in the Big Ten.
Okay, so it doesn't tell you anything more about Iowa's win in Lincoln the other night.
No. Here's the thing. The Big Ten is a gauntlet. On any given night, somebody can upset somebody. So hence Iowa, USC scenario.
Beating Maryland on the road by 20? That seems like
First of all, they were up 30 at one point.
Yeah.
Okay. So in the second half. But I don't know. I just feel like the Big Ten, I'm never surprised by like upsets, if that makes sense. I'm always like, ooh, that's a good win or that's a bad loss. Like, I'm never shocked by the situation because I just know the Big Ten and just the grind it out. And these teams know each other better than anybody. So it's guaranteed. But like I said, it's more of a bad loss on Maryland than it is a good win on Nebraska. That sounds crazy, but yeah.
Oh, well, I'll tell you what. You look at these last, let's do the counting now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I should know the number, right? 6 straight wins for Iowa. At one point, they had lost 5 straight. And this is not a game we expected them to lose. And had they lost this game, this would have gone on the resume as a horrendously bad loss. Well, let's just make that abundantly clear.
Oh, yeah.
A bad Rutgers team who was without its leading scorer.
On your home court.
On your home court. So this was a loss you couldn't afford. This does nothing to the resume other than give them another Big Ten victory. But the fact that they have won 6 straight now, and, you know, this is an Iowa team that, about a month ago, it looked like it was going to play everybody close but lose down the stretch. Now, even in a game like this where they let a bad team hang around, it never felt like Rutgers was – part of that's because Rutgers doesn't have the firepower, but it never felt like Rutgers was in this game. At least it didn't to me. Even when they were up.
Once we took the lead, I was like, okay, we're fine.
So my question to you is, are you concerned with any of the performances of people like Hannah and McCabe? Feuerbach kind of went back to being what she was a month ago.
I'm always concerned.
You're always concerned.
Yes,
You
because
hate that word concerned. You've told me that before. You hate that word.
Yeah, but here's the thing. The team has been unpredictable this whole season. We have no idea who's going to be on, off, who we could rely on any given night. That has been something that has been a thing the whole season. Now, thankfully, Lucy has turned it on in these 6 games. More so recently, the last 3. But, well, has it been 3 since? No, 4. So, or 5, whatever. It doesn't matter. So, I think that she has turned it on lately, but I'm always nervous. Feuerbach is out of my mind when it comes to offense. I'm going to be honest with you. She's simply a defender to give us extra possessions and to stop the other team's best player. I don't consider her something that I need to rely on offensively. So she's out of the question. Hannah is a concern, just a little bit, because she's got to figure out a way to not foul and still be aggressive. I think that's what's taking her out of the game offensively, is because she's so worried about the defensive piece of it. She almost can't be aggressive offensively. It's weird. Taylor McCabe is Taylor McCabe. Some days she's going to be hot. Some days she's not going to get a shot. That's called scouting. And your team actually listening to you. So I'm not too worried. I mean, she's going to be what she is. Sydney Falter is doing what she's doing. I'm good with that. Happy camper there. And Aaliyah Guyton, she's going through a little freshman slump at the end of the day, a shooter slump. We'll see how that turns out.
Yeah. Ava Hyde didn't play today, but it was, again, because of foul trouble.
Yeah,
and
she got herself in foul trouble.
The other night, she did. And the other night you told me I was, quote, tripping because I made a comment about the officiating not being quite as bad as some people were making it out to be. Now, Paul in the chat is saying it was another night of crazy whistles. Do we really believe the officiating was that bad tonight? I
don't think it was that bad tonight. I mean, Nebraska was bad. This one was more just kind of like, it wasn't horrible.
Yeah. Yeah, just she's
I don't think there were a lot of phantom calls in Nebraska. Like, huh? Like, nowhere near the person. Like, what is happening? In this game, I was kind of like, okay. So I take those.
Let's go to our phone line. Thank you for calling Iowa Postgame with Kachine Alexander. You're on the air.
Hi, this is Christy from Gilbert. How are you guys?
Good, Christy. How are you?
Good. Well, she wasn't pretty, but she got the job done, right?
That's right.
That's all that matters.
Argue with that.
Well, my question is for Kachine, given tonight's performance and given our next opponent, and I believe it's at Ohio, correct?
Correct.
Do you see this as like a slump, or do you think they're going to be able to turn this around? Because they can't play like this and beat Ohio. Like, that's just not going to happen.
We're going to get blown out the gym if we do that.
They won't do that. They'll play better on Sunday.
Do you think the team has a tendency to play to the opponent? Because that's what I feel like.
Yes, I do think to a degree. We tend to play a little bit better on the road than we do at home. So I think, except for there's specific games at home where I'm like, ooh. But, I mean, we blew out Nebraska at Nebraska, lost at home. We shouldn't have lost to Indiana at home. Oregon, I'll leave that where it's at. I'll leave that where it's at. And even Illinois. But I think that we will play better on Sunday.
Played with fire at home against you and I, right? I mean, like to your point, they've struggled at home at times.
They have. I feel like we'll play better on the road. And the reason why I say that is because when you're on the road, your mindset is a little bit different because you know it's just you. You don't have the crowd. You don't have anybody behind you. So you have to generate that energy. A lot of people at home kind of relax a little bit. because you have the crowd, you have kind of the pump me up scenario. But on the road, it's literally just everybody just wearing Iowa clothes. That's it. So I predict us to play better on Sunday than we did today.
And then do we play UCLA at home or do we go there?
Home.
Okay, that's good.
Yep.
I hope.
But
Unless we play
let's
like
keep
tonight.
in mind, that's an Ohio State team that's number 9 in the country right now, Kachine.
Mm-hmm.
So for people that haven't, we'll talk Ohio State here in a little bit, but what's the main fear you have? I mean, we obviously know the situation with USC and UCLA's size and the Juju Watkins effect, but what is it about Ohio State for Hawkeye fans that have not watched them that scares you the most?
They play bully ball. It's the same thing as last year.
And
I said this last year. In order for us to beat Ohio State, you have got to be strong. You cannot whimper away or else it's done for it. On top of, they press. And they're pretty decent at it. So if we cannot handle the ball, or if we don't have the mindset that is like, no, we're going to get this ball across the court, we're going to be poised, we're going to be calm, we're going to be confident, it's going to be a long night for us. And we have to own the boards. Because, the one girl's still there, Cody, and she is a handful.
Yes, she is. And she's physical.
Very.
Yeah.
She reminds me of myself.
Okay. She's a little bit bigger.
And then do you have any concerns about Aaliyah Guyton going into the Ohio game?
I don't really ever have concerns about freshmen because freshmen they're going to give you whatever they give you. That's how I view freshmen. Like either the pressure shouldn't be on her. The pressure should be just come out and play basketball. But the beginning of the season, there was no pressure because we didn't know what she was going to give us. Then people started to put pressure on her because now we're starting to see what she's capable of, et cetera. And it's kind of like going like this. Like, I just want her to feel free again. You don't have to produce this, that, and the third. Lucy's doing her job. The upperclassmen are doing their job. Just play. Relax.
Yeah, I will say this. The freshmen have really, we talked, I remember after that Minnesota game where we said, hey, this is the first time in a while, maybe all year, where it's felt like this was an experienced senior-laden team. Because all the veterans were the ones that have stepped up. And that's really been the case since then. Like, it's been on pretty much every game. It's been the upperclassmen. Now, again, tonight we didn't see the scoring outputs from McCabe and from Feuerbach, from Stolke. But, I mean, if you're ever going to be concerned about these freshmen, Kachine, it might be now, because it's not just Aaliyah that's giving you next to nothing offensively. Stremlo's gave you nothing again tonight offensively. Ava's been relegated to the bench for obvious reasons. And Tegan's still giving you nothing. So, I mean, obviously earlier in the year, there were times when the older players weren't playing well, the freshmen stepped up, but I could see why some people might be a little concerned when they see these freshmen, those goose eggs, showing up on the stat sheet, because we don't know how they're going to respond, right? As young players, you just don't know how they're going to respond. And some of it's opportunity, right? The opportunity's been taken away to some extent. So I'll be anxious to see how they respond, because there are going to be games, whether it be this week against Ohio State, next week against UCLA, or down the road, where they're going to need production offensively from Aaliyah, from Tegan, from Taylor, in some way, shape, or form. Thankfully, the upperclassmen have stepped up here of late. Christy, anything else?
No, that's all. Thanks, you guys, and go Hawks.
Go Hawks. Appreciate the call, Christy. All right, folks. Here's the way you can interact. If you have a question for Kachine, you can give us a call, 515-635-1601, or simply click the link in the description. You should see a little link next to the words join the show. I also threw the link up in the live chat, and I'll add it to the live chat again here in a few minutes. A couple things before we continue. Terry is here, one of our premium subscribers, so thank you for being here, Terry. Mitchell also here is a premium subscriber. Thank you, Mitchell. Kelly reminding everybody to hit the like button. She is also a premium subscriber, so thank you for that. Asa reminding everybody to hit that like button. It takes 2 seconds, if that. scroll down, hit the thumbs up before you continue watching. All right, Mike is in the chat. Mike wants to know about the low scoring output. So obviously some of these people who are watching the show, Kachine, we got over 500 people watching right now. They haven't watched the game because it was on Big Ten Plus. I know some people watch the game. It's posted, I guess, on YouTube later. I don't do that because I subscribe so I can watch the games live. But for the people that didn't watch the game, how would you answer that question? Why did we see such little production out of all three bigs that played?
There was nothing that the other team did. It was us.
Okay.
They were just lethargic. Honestly, that was it. They should have. You know what's weird though? Is the announcers, mind you, and maybe that was my first mistake, but the announcers kept talking about how big Rutgers is, and I'm like, where? Like, what? Am I missing something? Like, I was so confused. The one time I did turn it on, right, and I was like, what size? Like, am I?
Well, yeah, I'm trying to figure out who is there.
So confused. But nonetheless, I felt like this should have been an Addy game. That's how I felt about it. But it was almost like, one, we either couldn't get the pass there, or two, our seals weren't as crisp as they normally are. It was like a twofer.
I mean, JoJo Lacey's 6'1", Zakara Perkins is 6'3". So, I mean, not that those two. I mean, JoJo's averaging 9 and 5, and I think what is Zakara's average? She scored 6 tonight. She's averaging 4.
I'm not crazy. They said that a few times. Somebody.
Well, we're probably better off not dissecting what the Big Ten Plus broadcasts say.
I just had to make sure I was hearing the right thing, because I was like, are they talking about us? Who are they talking about? Because
we get one more game on Big Ten Plus.
I couldn't figure that out.
2 more games on Peacock, and hey, this Sunday is a Fox game, middle of the day on Fox. So how about that for a broadcast? Sunday, right?
No, we play Monday on President's Day.
Oh, that's right.
It's at noon, which is insane because I'll be at work. But
yeah, they don't give you President's Day off?
Nobody gets President's Days off besides federal government workers.
Well, apparently Iowa students do because they're playing.
Like I said, federal.
All right.
Included.
Patrick wants to know, was Rutgers selling out to stop us in the paint, or were they just lazy on their closeouts?
Undisciplined.
Okay.
That's the word I would use.
David wants to know if they're struggling. Is Iowa struggling to make entry passes to the post?
Some games, yes. I can't tell you why, but some games we do.
And Def, whatever this username is, honest question: who looked worse, USC in their first quarter or Rutgers in the last today? My daughter and I are headed to Charlotte tomorrow. You got to give Iowa some credit for how they made those two teams look in those respective quarters. Obviously, those are two, USC and Rutgers, two teams on total opposite ends of the Big Ten spectrum.
Yeah, I'm totally going with USC because that was not expected. Rutgers is expected.
Right. Especially as a game wears on without your leading scorer, right?
Yeah, that's expected, that you're going to struggle at some point during the game. USC, however, I don't think, and nobody in America thought it was going to be 17-1 or 18, whatever it was. That's insane. I kept saying that out loud. What is happening right now?
All right, folks, let's go back to our phone line. Thank you for calling Iowa Postgame with Kachine Alexander. Who's on the line?
This is Jacob. How are you doing?
Good, Jacob. How are you?
Too bad, thank you. I was just calling to see if there's any way that Sydney Afalter, her rebounding position, her ability to box out, and her ability to sense where the ball's going can be taught, because it's funny how she can rebound so well. With it never seems like her feet get off the ground. It's just her hands go up, ball's in her hand, and then boom. I don't know how she does it with maybe not the best vertical, but it's amazing how she can box out. But another thing is Iowa against Ohio State might get a little ugly with that press.
Mhm.
Might get ugly quick
Mhm.
because we have no speed to split the floor. None. Maybe Guyton, maybe, but I don't think you can trust her trying to split that. So I'm a little nervous about the Ohio State game. Really, really nervous about that game.
Well, let me just say this earlier. I saw somebody in the chat say that that's a must win. I don't know what our definition of must win is, but
There's
to me,
only 2 must wins on our schedule. The one we just got and Wisconsin. Everybody else is a plus.
With all due respect, it's the furthest thing from a must win. Now, if you're talking about like finding your way to a 5 seed, okay, it's a must win. But legitimately, nobody believes that Iowa's in play for a 5. I don't even think they're in play for a 6. Although I'm no bracketologist, I think they would have to win out, I think, to be in play for that and probably make a run of the Big Ten tournament. But they're playing with house money, Cash. This is no longer a team that doesn't have an elite win on the resume, right?
Mhm.
It's better. It's different than what the men are doing. See, the men are in the opposite position. They're playing a ranked team on the road here in a couple of days. And it's not a must win, but like they got to figure out a way to get a really good win on the road. And they just got to win games because they got 8 Big Ten losses already. So they'll be fine. The women can lose these next 2 games, UCLA and Ohio State. And my opinion of their tournament chances, and I think the committee's opinion of this team changes none. Even if they lose to UCLA at home, it's the best team in the country by the numbers, right? Kachine, am I wrong on my assessment there?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, Jacob, I think honestly, I'm glad they're playing Ohio State now, and I'll tell you why. We saw them struggle with pressure, struggle against teams like Tennessee early in the year. Now, Tennessee's a different animal. We'll see what Ohio State can do in that regard, but how much have the older players matured? We've seen them cut down on turnovers. Tonight wasn't the best example, right? They had 16 turnovers tonight. But Kachine, we've seen them cut down on turnovers. Let's see what they can do now. Because, hey, if they're going to make a run in the NCAA tournament, they may have to play that type of a matchup. So this is, to me, if anything, a good test pre-March to see where they're at, breaking through pressure, because they struggled without question. They turned the ball over, 30-plus times against Tennessee out in New York. So I'm looking forward to seeing how they respond, especially Lucy and Sydney and the older players.
Well, the one thing with that, though, is they're older players, but it's just because you got to have some speed. And it's in our minds, we can remember, Caitlin breaking the press over and over again. Well, that's hard to do because she wasn't just quick, she was quick and fast. And it wasn't that she was quick and fast, but her brain, she also knew what to do. Caitlin was just a different animal. But we just don't have that. We don't have the best ball handlers. We don't have people who make the best decisions because Kylie getting pressured. We don't want that. We don't want that at all. And Sydney can handle the ball. It's just she's not very quick with the ball. So we might have older players who know what to do necessarily, but if they're getting pushed around with not much speed, that's where it can get a little ugly. In my opinion. I could be wrong, though.
Kachine, is that fair take?
Yep. Hence why I brought it up at the beginning. That's the one thing I am worried about. I'm not worried that we can play with them. I'm worried about the press.
Yeah. And reason to be worried. Jacob, anything else?
Nope. That's it. Thanks for taking my call, and have a good night.
Go Mavs.
You too.
Real quick, can I just tell you this, Kachine? I got to tell you something. So this is a legitimate report. Okay. This is a legitimate, before we go to our guy, Kyle Huesmann, who's waiting in the wings here. The Mavs are playing the Heat. Last game before the NBA All-Star break, they are down Kyrie Irving, who's out with an injury.
Mm-hmm.
Klay Thompson, out with an injury.
Mm-hmm.
Daniel Gafford, out with an injury.
Mm-hmm.
Anthony Davis, out with an injury. PJ Washington, out with an injury. Caleb Martin, out with an injury. Derek Lively, out with an injury. Dwight Powell, out with an injury. That's 8 guys.
So did they bring in people from the G League? Like, do they even have a team?
They're playing the Heat, and they're actually playing them close. But this is what they've been dealing with for the last month. They brought one guy in.
People ain't hurt.
Huh?
All those people are not hurt.
What do you mean they're not hurt?
The same way they tell people all the time that so-and-so is sitting out. All of those people are not hurt.
They are not in a position to... You think that organization wants that narrative out there? I think they got a lot of people who are not in shape. That's my question. That's the $1 million question.
That's very interesting.
Going back to the Luka Doncic thing, I think this was more of an organizational issue with strength and conditioning than a Luka Doncic issue. Anyways, we can have this discussion another time. Let's go to our good friend Kyle Huesmann, who's inside Carver-Hawkeye Arena. Kyle, you just heard our conversation, myself and Kachine. What are your thoughts on the Dallas Mavericks? I'm just joking. We're not. We're here to talk Hawks. Iowa defeating Rutgers 55-43. You're fresh off Jan Jensen's postgame press conference. Not the prettiest of performances, certainly, but Lucy Olson played big again with 27 points. And by the way, folks, she is our RTI Threads player of the game with her 27 points, 11 of 19 from the field, made 4 more threes, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, a pair of steals. She was really good. And then you have the big-time rebounding efforts from Sydney Falter once again. She grabbed 14 off the glass. Just kind of give us an idea of how Jan's feeling about win number 6 in a row.
Yeah, I think it's one of those weird games that I think a lot of people, whether it's fans or players or the coaching staff, you don't have a super great feeling just because it was kind of a sluggish game throughout, and they found a way to win. But I think something that Jan brought up almost immediately at the beginning of the press conference was, 4 or 5 weeks ago, if you would have told them, hey, you're about to win this game against Oregon or you're about to win this game against Nebraska 55-43, they would have signed up immediately for it. So it's just, she said, it's kind of just that perspective of, right now on the 6th game of a 6-game winning streak, the expectation goes up a little bit, and there's maybe a little people that are upset about, kind of pulling this game out and not really playing well. But the perspective is that a few weeks ago, you were in the middle of a 5-game losing streak, and you would have loved any type of win. You would have taken a 10-8 win at that point. So, she wasn't really happy with the way that they played. She felt like, the way that they started going down 10-2, she was not happy with that. Wasn't happy with the way they were cutting the basket on the offensive side. Felt like they missed some layups. She wasn't happy about that, but she said she felt like there were other times where they got open looks. Taylor McCabe had 5 3-pointers tonight. None of them went in. We just saw her go 5 of 8 against Nebraska. So, Aaliyah Guyton got some good looks tonight. They're just still not going for her. She's been, struggling a little bit lately, but Jan felt like that the offense did get some good looks. And maybe on a different night they fall. So there was a mix. Some things that she certainly wants to fix, but certainly some things that she felt like is just kind of the way the game went. You're going to have games where shots aren't falling, but the difference is they found a way to win tonight. They held Rutgers to 43 points and had them at 37 with 2-3 minutes left in the game. They won the rebounding battle again. That's now 22 out of 24 games they've done that. You mentioned Sida Fulter. That's her 4th double-double in the last 8 games. So she's really stepped up in both the scoring and the rebounding. But yeah, I think this is one of those where they're going to just kind of take the win and move on. It might be one of those that you don't dwell on a ton. You just kind of move on and you put it in the win column and you move on to the Ohio State game on Monday.
Quick response to David, because I know this can be a very frustrating issue. He says, my Big Ten Plus constantly freezes and skips watching on the Apple TV app. Anybody else having this issue? No. So probably an issue either with your internet, David, or an issue somewhere between Apple TV and the Big Ten Plus app, but that's not happening. I watch on Roku. It doesn't happen on my end. So anyways, just wanted to address that real quick. I can't imagine Lucy. Jan is real happy with the performances of her bigs. Hannah gets into foul trouble early. Addie and Ava both play in that first half. They all kind of struggled tonight. Kyle, did she comment on the production from her forwards?
Yeah, I think that was kind of the point she was getting at with the missed layups. I think she was upset with that. She said she's okay with missed three or a missed jump shot, but it's the missed layups that are ones that need to be made. So I think that's kind of where she was going with her centers there. She also mentioned that she felt like the post feeds tonight weren't great, and they had been better for a few games. She had mentioned somewhat recently, and it was kind of an interesting comment when she made it, was that everybody was super upset with the post lobs from the wing. That's something that Jan doesn't like either. She had mentioned it a couple of times that she wanted the team to stay away from the post lobs from the wing, or trying to get it into the post from the wing, and focus on more of the top down look into the post. And that had actually been cleaned up a little bit the last couple of games. And then the post feeds tonight in general just weren't great. So I think it was a mix of maybe some missed layups and the opportunities they had. And then she didn't like the post feeds tonight. So that's certainly something they'll go back and try to clean up, because I do think they had been better over the last couple of games. But Hannah's been struggling the last couple of games. It seems like one of those where maybe it's in her head a little bit. Did not play well against Nebraska. I think it's one of those where she just needs to see a couple go in the next game, and because we've seen what she can do at the center position the last stretch. She's had a couple of double doubles. Obviously, Nebraska was the notable one. She had 16 and 16. But they need to get her back to contributing. The one thing that does work right now is, since you're on a winning streak, you're still finding a way with Hannah scuffling a little bit. And you're hoping that she can figure it out sooner rather than later. But yeah, I think the layups comment was kind of pointed in the direction of the centers. And then, like I said, the post feeds was another thing that she pointed out that needed to be better.
15 points scored in the fourth quarter, Kachine. 15 points combined? How does that happen? I mean, that's just I would have never, and I know it's a different coaching staff, but if you had told me a year ago that Iowa would play a Big Ten game in which they scored 15 points combined, because Iowa was not traditionally known under the Bluter, Jan Jensen era of limiting points on the other end, or struggling to score themselves. I know we've asked this question before, and Kachine, you brought up just the layout of the team, the makeup of the team, personnel. Yeah. But isn't it time to start talking about the culture of this? Not maybe culture is the wrong word, but the idea of this team actually changing. I mean, this doesn't look anything like what this has looked like in the past.
I thought that was already discussed.
I wouldn't say that the idea of the team. I wouldn't say that the Jan is going to try to build this program. To me, when I think of idea, I think of what does Jan want the program to be when she's in year 3, in year 5, in year 8. It's not, to me, it's not going to be defense. They might be a better defensive team, okay, but I don't think they're going to try to become like the Virginia men's basketball type. I don't think that's
we maintain that this is all personnel. Is that?
I think, and Jan's talked about it this season. I think they knew kind of the turnover that was happening with the offensive weapons, mainly Caitlin. But I mean, Gabby and Kate and, some of the Molly Davis one that certainly had their own offensive contributions. They knew that the offense was going to be, I don't want to say bad, but take a step back. It's been certainly a lot better as of late. But they knew that the defense had to get better this year. And I think there was a stronger emphasis on it. And I think some of the players that on this team that are better on the defensive end got to play more. I mean, Kylie Feuerbach is someone that didn't play a lot last year. Your defense would have been better if she got more minutes. Your offense might not have been better, but I think the defense would have been better if Kylie Feuerbach got more minutes. Sida Fulter was someone that got more minutes later in the season, and I thought they played some of their best defense in the postseason last year. So I think it was a little bit of players and roles that were a little bit smaller last year. Maybe their better defenders were in smaller roles last year, but it was a clear emphasis that they knew the offense was not going to put up 90 points a game like they did with Caitlin. And they knew that, maybe they would average 75 points a game or 70 points a game, whatever it may be. The defense had to get better then for them to be able to win games, and they have done that. But I wouldn't say the idea of the team is this year's team. The idea of the team might be a strong defense, but to me, an idea of a team would be, what does Jan want to build the program around? And I don't think it's going to be defense going forward. I think they're going to still try to be a strong offensive team. It might just not be necessarily what this team does on a nightly basis. But I think that the offense has been really a lot better during this winning streak. This is just one of the games that it wasn't as good tonight. And like I said, I felt like there were certainly possessions that were not good. I mean, they turned it over 16 times tonight, but I mean, there's not many nights where Taylor McCabe's going to go 0 for 5. Leah Guyton's eventually going to figure it out. She had a really good start to the season from the 3-point line. I mean, just those two in particular. If Taylor McCabe makes 3 of those 5 threes tonight, like, like she did against Nebraska, and Aaliyah Guyton hits one. They win this game by 25 points, and we're really not talking a lot about it. So I thought they missed some. And you can even talk about like someone like Hannah Stolke. If she's 5 of 8 instead of 3 of 8, that changes things as well. So I thought they missed some shots that they would normally make. Lucy Olsen missed a couple of free throws late. So I think it was a mix. The offense in general didn't have a great flow tonight, didn't have a great performance, but they also just missed some shots that I think they make, maybe in the last game or maybe in the next game.
I just asked that question because, I mean, this is maybe as extreme of an example. This in the Oregon game, right? The one out in Eugene. I mean, like when you're struggling to hit 50, and it looked like Rutgers wasn't going to hit 40. They had to bank in a 3 to hit 40. I don't know. To me, it's extreme, Kyle. If the idea of the program is the same, and this is just, it's transition year and all that, I never expected it to be this extreme. And so maybe it just comes down to credit the staff for making it work in the way they had to make it work. But this will be a big flux back to the previous era. And I know Caitlin influenced that a lot over the last 4 years. But I think.
But you have to look at how extreme of an outlier Iowa's offense was the last. We're not talking about Iowa being like a top 25 offense. Like they were the best offense in the country for 3 straight years, and a couple of those there were a couple of teams that were maybe in the same area. But I mean, Caitlin was such a good offensive player that even if you had a regular, all Big Ten, All American type point guard, Caitlin was that much better than the average, All Big Ten, All American point guard. That made your offense that much better. I think even an All-American point guard at Iowa or an All-Big Ten point guard, Iowa's still a good team. They're not putting up 90 a game. So I think some of it is that, Iowa just had such a good player running their offense that really helped in the fact that they were scoring 90 points a game. But I think, like I said, I think this offense has started to figure it out as of late. Even last year's team, they played Kansas State here in Iowa City, and what was the score of that game? It was like 60-55 or something, whatever it was then.
Yeah,
that would be their version. That version of that team, doing that was this year's version of tonight's game. It might not have been a 55-40 game, but they may have lost a 65-60 type game. So, like I said, I think this offense has been pretty good. It's made some strides as of late. This isn't a game that I'm necessarily taking a ton away from. If they go to Ohio State. I wasn't saying you were. I'm just saying I think there are some people that do want to kind of revert back to some of the thoughts that they had during that 5-game losing streak. And I just think it's one of those where they missed some shots tonight. It wasn't the greatest start. I mean, obviously they fell down 10-2, but after that they outscored them 53-33 over the next 35 minutes. So I thought they found a way to win tonight when they clearly weren't their best selves. And I think this is certainly a much closer game if you play it, a couple weeks ago when I was in the midst of their losing streak. So you got to credit them a certain extent for finding a way to win when they just did not have their best stuff tonight.
Well, Mansky, definitely appreciate the super chat. Sir Guyton is giving us the 6th most minutes per game this season, taking pressure off Lucy at point. Nearly the same points per game as Kylie. She needs to take her shots. Thrilled with her play. Remember in high school 1 year ago, and remember she just came off a serious knee injury about 2 months ago, right? Or 3 months ago, whatever it's been now.
Yeah.
But she didn't get the off season with the team full speed. So slump or not, this is also a freshman coming off a serious knee injury.
I don't mind the shots that she's taking. I don't think any of the 6 shots. I don't think she took any bad shots tonight. They're just not going in. You can't fault her for shooting an open 3. I think that's a shot that they want her to take. And Jan has kind of mentioned a little bit that she feels like for the most part, Aaliyah has taken good shots. It's not a matter of trying to force it or do too much when she's in. They're just not falling for it right now. So I don't know that she deserves. I mean, 17 minutes tonight is probably a pretty reasonable amount. She did have 4 turnovers tonight. But for her, it's just a matter of when do they start falling again. They were falling early in the year, and now they aren't. But I don't think it's anything about forcing shots. I think she's finding good looks. But they do sooner rather than later. If she's going to continue to take 6 shots in the game, they do need her to shoot a little bit better. But I'm not upset with any of the shots that she's taken.
Kyle Huesmann, HawkeyeReport.com. Is there anything I am missing, either of you, before we let Kyle slide?
I heard you guys discussing the NCAA tournament stuff before I hopped in. I just was going to throw my thoughts in. I do think that a 6 seed is possible.
What would have to happen for that in your mind? Because that's high.
Win out.
Yeah, I don't think they would have to do that. I think, beating Michigan on the road, beating Wisconsin, you get the first one at the Big Ten tournament, which would be, I don't know who it would be. They have a decent win there. You would have a good loss then in that second round. I think 21-10 would get you probably to a 7. They aren't really as far off as you would think when you compare the resumes of some of those 6 seeds right now. They have a similar amount of quad 1 and quad 2 wins to those teams that are projected to be 6 seeds right now. It's just the extra losses. So I think there were a couple of teams that was like, they had 7 or 8 quad 1, quad 2 wins, which is what Iowa has. But instead of 8-7 like Iowa, it was like 8-4 or 8-5. So Iowa's there in terms of the quality wins, the quad 1 and quad 2 category. They just have a couple extra losses. So I think 21-10 would probably get them to a 7 seed. So I don't think they need to win out. I think if they were able to pick off Ohio State coming up on Monday, or get that second win at the Big Ten tournament. Yeah, I mean, you can throw UCLA in there. I don't know that they're going to be able to do quite that. What they did with USC. I don't know if they're going to be able to duplicate that again. Maybe.
It is at home.
Hey, like I said.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, you don't
never know.
We said that before the USC game, but yeah, I think that I don't know they have to win out or something like that. I think they have a chance, but I do think it would probably come down to you need. I mean, Michigan would be a quad 1 win on the road. I think who you're going to face at the Big Ten tournament is probably going to be a quad 1 win because it'll be a neutral site. If not, it'll be a quad 2 win for sure based on where they're looking at for the standings. So those would be 2 quality wins. You just add in the win over Wisconsin as long as you don't lose that. It does feel like they'd probably need a win over an Ohio State or UCLA or the second round, their second game at the Big Ten tournament, whoever that would be. But I don't feel like they're quite as far off as people think they are. But I do see a situation playing out where if they get to 21-10 and they end up a 7 seed, one of those 3-game winners that they had a chance at this year, whether it was Michigan State or Nebraska or Oregon, they're going to come up one of those short from being a 6 seed, which to me, there's a pretty big difference between a 6 seed and then anything below that.
Well, big difference.
Okay, so I wouldn't have even addressed this because I think it's pretty much the farthest fetched thing you could have drawn up. But Asa throwing up the super chat, so we have to address it. What if he or she adds that twice? What if we went out before the Big Ten? So, looking at the schedule, that would be win on the road against Ohio State, win at home against the number 1 team in the country, win in Michigan, winning at home against Wisconsin. So that puts you at
22-7. 22-7.
22-7. Then are you a 6 seed regardless of Big Ten tournament?
If you're saying if they win out,
they were to win out, are they a 6 seed regardless of Big Ten tournament at that point? They can lose their first. Stop laughing. Why are you laughing?
No, I'm laughing at you saying 6 seed. If they won out and had wins over USC, Ohio State, and number 1 UCLA, who would be their, I would assume would be UCLA's only loss going into the Big Ten tournament, I would be looking to try to host.
Okay. Wait, to be
you'd have USC would be as good of a win as anybody in the country, and having USC and UCLA would be 2 wins better than anyone in the country. Not even close. South Carolina doesn't even have 2 wins that match that.
Well, just so everybody's aware, USC leads UCLA into the first quarter 24-15. So that will be
there. You go.
Follow, obviously, but I mean,
I think if they got to 22-7, I'm not saying they would just be able to lose in the Big Ten tournament, but you get to 22-7 and win a game at the Big Ten tournament, you 23-8 with those 3 wins it's not going to happen. I mean, we're discussing something that's not going to happen. But I'm saying, if it did happen, that would be that
anything can happen, Kyle.
So what's the to answer the question though? If they win out,
yeah,
and then they win 2 games in the Big Ten tournament,
and so that'd be what you're saying, 24-8.
How high can they climb? That's
24-8.
Yeah, 24-8.
I think they'd certainly be in. They might host. That would probably be, in my opinion, because that group of 3 wins, USC, UCLA, and Ohio State, would be better than anyone has in the country.
So Hawkeye fans can still hold out hope.
And you wouldn't.
Oh my God.
You wouldn't have a bad loss either. What would your worst loss be in that scenario? Oregon's in the NCAA tournament right now. Nebraska's in the NCAA tournament right now.
Illinois
is in the NCAA tournament right now. You wouldn't have a loss to a team outside the NCAA tournament.
Is Indiana in the NCAA tournament? I haven't watched them since.
I think Indiana's still in. All those teams are going to be in. They might not make it by a lot, but they'll be in.
Well,
Again, I think we've spent a lot of time on a topic that's not going to happen. But I'm just saying.
Hey Kyle, if it does happen, what are you going to do on air?
Well, then they'll be hosting the NCAA tournament.
Kachine went. Now you can't do this at Carver, but Kachine went and took a shot live on the air. So if they beat UCLA,
when we beat USC, I took a shot. But I said previously, if we beat USC, I'll take a shot because.
But it was like
a good bet.
It was a weak shot. It was like Crown Vanilla, but enough said. Wasn't it Crown Vanilla? That's what it was.
Crown
Apple. Okay.
Relax.
That's not better. Anyways, all right.
Out here throwing back moonshine. Like, come on, let's get it together.
I think there's a little bit of a gap there, but Kyle Huesmann, HawkeyeReport.com. People can follow him at Huesmann Kyle. That's 2 N's, and check out the work over at HawkeyeReport.com. And be sure you say subscribe there because they've got off-season coverage as we count down the days to September for Iowa football. And, of course, men's basketball coverage continues.
Iowa baseball.
Iowa baseball.
A lot of stuff on baseball. Please go read that stuff. The season starts tomorrow. Are we doing a show on Monday? Are you going to be available after the morning tip?
I will. Princess Diana over here she says she has to work. So
I'll be at work. I'll be watching the game on my computer.
Yeah. Does your employer not realize you have this show? I mean,
they do. You want to know why?
Why?
Because every monthly meeting, we go through our website numbers, and guess who is like the top 2 searched to go to our website? Kachine Alexander.
Hey,
it becomes a whole thing every month.
And where's my check? Where's my check, people? Just giving you. All right, Kyle.
I'm like, what would you do without me? At this point. I'm kidding.
That's right. All right, Kyle. So safe travels back home, and we'll talk to you Monday.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Thanks, sir. All right, folks. Continuing here, again, thank you to Asa for that super chat. Very much appreciated. And again, Lemansky, thank you. Obviously, the super chat is more reflective of Kachine and her efforts and how Lemansky feels about Leah Guyton. He is a big Leah Guyton fan, as am I. So she'll bust out of this, but again, expectations.
She'll bust out when we need her the most. Watch.
There you go. That's the best thing that could happen, right? That is the best possible scenario. By the way, USC has extended their lead. It's now 27-15. And for people who are curious, in spite of being down all those players I mentioned earlier, the Mavs are in a tight game down the stretch against the Heat. It's a 4-point deficit with 6 minutes to go. Sister Noble in the chat says, I like this channel because y'all tell the truth and you don't gaslight. So I appreciate that. We appreciate that.
No gaslighting over here.
No gaslighting. Stavros says, why are we the worst at hitting shots from 0 to 4 feet ever? We weren't like this in previous years, right?
You're lying, Stavros, because you know how many times y'all was complaining about us missing layups last year?
Okay, well, Kyle just brought that up. Jan's brought it up. Why is there something you can identify from the outside as to why I was having issues around the rim?
No.
Get in the gym.
Specific. We've talked about this for each individual player already. So
yeah. Well, Hannah misses a lot around the rim. So
yeah,
that's those are
some
things.
People just don't have good touch. It's simple.
Lucy missed one today that didn't even hit rim.
She
layup.
Bricked it.
She bricked it against the glass. Yes, she did.
Boom! Right after, I was like, oh my God. She didn't think she was gonna be that open. That's what I'm going with.
Yeah. Stavros, thank you for the super chat as well. And Tim, I'm assuming no relation to Cody McMahon, but Tim McMahon says, have Cash talk about the transition for freshmen. One other, I don't know what this.
That's
how they have to adapt to the way they change defending them. Seems we are seeing that. Well, I should have read this first before I put it up on the screen.
I think right because that sounded crazy, Timothy.
Yep.
But I think what Tim is saying is that nobody has film on freshmen at the beginning. But in the more games that they play, the more they can be scouted. And a lot of freshmen don't have, correct me if I'm wrong, Tim, if you're still in here, but a lot of freshmen don't have the second, third, and fourth counters in their bag right off the bat. So if you take away what they're really good at, they don't have a counter usually. You learn that as you go. So I'm assuming that's what he's talking about transition and all that other stuff. At least I hope that's what he's talking about. Yeah, that's what I got.
And a comment here about the coaching staff. Yes, Sean Sullivan, it's been pointed out by staff and players that he has made a big difference with the defense. So part of it is the addition of a really talented, apparently really talented young coach. And as long as they keep him, should be helpful to the defense. So how would you describe the style of play? Because everybody wants to compare the Caitlin era to the now era.
Why are we comparing that era?
Okay, well, how would you compare the now era? No. You the now era, let me say it finish, to the U era when you were at Iowa. How does it look different today as opposed to 12 years ago? I don't want to get the wrong. No, 14 years ago. Not to age you.
We played a lot more inside-outside, meaning a lot of our offense was geared towards drive and kick, like a lot. We didn't use our post as they do now. Our posts were used for other things back then. So it was really a 1-4 game. Our 4-player can shoot the 3. She was probably one of our best 3-point shooters outside of Jamie Prinny and Camille. But I think that's probably a little bit different. I think the Caitlin era ran probably more than any Iowa team ever. Lisa Bluter always wanted to play fast, but that was a different kind of fast. Now we can't score well, so we're playing defense.
You really believe that's what it comes down to?
Yes. If we don't play defense, and you get a night like tonight, right? And it's happened a few other nights, you're gonna lose. Because if you can't play defense, there's nothing you can do about it. Last year, we weren't great at defense, but we could score with the best of them. So it didn't really matter if we could play defense or not, because we were averaging 90 points a game, damn near. So if we didn't score, we're still scoring 70 plus, and that's 20 points below our average. How many teams are able to stay with you even on that? They got to come with their best scoring night. So, yeah, I think those are the differences.
All right, let's go quick fire in the chat. Last call on the phone line. We do have one person waiting in the queue. Last call for anybody else, 515-635-1601, or click the link in the description. Oh, I love addressing these comments. Let me just address it real quick, Kachine. NC Hawkeye says, nobody but Corey cares about the Mavs. Start a separate stream if you want to talk about them. First of all, I'm on here for hours every single week, multiple times per week. If I want to throw in a couple of Mavs comments or even a 2 to 3 minute conversation here or there, I'm going to do it. And if management of this channel has an issue, they can come to me. If management has an issue, they can come to me. All right?
Who's management? You?
I don't know.
Oh.
All right, let's go to. We got a couple of super chats. Lemansky says, Cash, MVP, 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 MVP.
That's what I be trying to tell them at work. They don't be listening to me, but go ahead.
I'm glad he stopped it at 4 MVPs because I am dedicated to reading every super chat. So,
Lemansky.
Thank you for that. S. Steele says, does Iowa have at least one natty if Lucy transferred to Iowa 2 years ago? Interesting question. Yes. Unreasonable because she wouldn't have done that. Not as the third leading scorer last year with Caitlin still there. Is that fair? She wasn't going to transfer to Iowa even if the scholarship was open.
I don't know. Maybe.
Hard to predict. Hard to know for sure, but I seriously doubt it. Good question, though. We can play in La La Land. That's, not reality, but it's a good question. Chad says you need to call in sick on Monday. And let's see. Michael, thank you for being a premium subscriber. Do appreciate you being here and for supporting the show. Julie wants to know, Kachine, do you think this result tonight, I guess just the lackadaisical performance, kind of view this win. Do you think tonight's game will light a fire under the team? I don't think so. I don't think this is going to light a fire.
I don't think we have that kind of team.
I also don't think it's not like they almost lost. You know, it wasn't a great performance, but I don't think this scares you or wakes you up. Like, they've won 6 straight.
Yeah, they will. I think it's more, okay, y'all, we got to be better, but I don't think I don't even think they should watch the film, personally. I wouldn't.
Okay.
Move on. Scrap it.
Yeah.
And let's worry about our next game. You know, that wasn't our best game, okay? It's okay. Let's move on. Let's worry about us. What's today? Thursday? Friday, Saturday. They play Monday?
They play Monday.
So they practice Tuesday, Wednesday.
Yep.
They're going to be off tomorrow. And then they're going to go back Saturday and Sunday to prepare for leave Sunday, play Monday. Yeah, that's how it's going to go.
Folks, before we get to Corey, who's in the queue, final reminder, if you have not done it yet, purchase your Coop shirt, your Cooper DeJean Eagles shirt in celebration of the Eagles title and the big pick 6 from OABCIG's own Cooper DeJean over at cd3-store.1rti.com, or if that's too complicated like it is for Coach Gary Close, just click the link in the description, or you can visit rtithreads.com/NIL.
Did I just miss a shot? I think I did.
A shot?
Yeah, I think you just took a shot.
I took a shot.
You did. Okay.
He admitted on the air it's too complicated.
You know what else they could do? Click the like button. And subscribe. That's what y'all can do.
I'm glad. See, you're back.
Yeah, y'all want me to take an off day? Like and subscribe. How about that?
Oh, I don't know if it's in the revenue of the show to pay you to take an off day, Kachine. Pierre is reminding everybody what you just said. Hit the like button. I don't know how many likes we're up to.
I'll just take a long lunch.
Take a long lunch. Yeah.
No, but only if we like and subscribe. How about that?
Really long lunch. Just complain about not having President's Day off.
I can watch it. Well, clearly my boss doesn't care about President's Day, so it's fine. But yeah, I'll watch the game at work and then I'll go take a lunch break. But only if you like and subscribe. I'll think about it.
Pierre, thank you for reminding everybody of this. And let's see. Josh wants to know why this show is funner than the men's show. Well, part of it is because the team has won 6 straight games. Okay. Part of it might be you, Kachine, but hey, Gary is lovely in his own right, in a much different way. But it's always going to be a better time when your team is winning.
100%.
I think we can all agree on that. So Amanda says, I'd rather listen to caller Corey's 5 last things than NBA sad stories.
5 last things. Hey, Amanda, she got to go do some like stand-up comedy or something because she.
And Nick wants to know, has caller Corey called in yet? The answer
is
what? Yes. He just did. Caller Corey, welcome.
You need to, if you want to watch real NBA action,
you
need to watch Luka Garza playing for Minnesota. That dude works his arse off. That dude, the fans. He's about to get a standing ovation. He's working
his. He does that though. He's been like that since he was in a Hawkeye uniform.
That dude, he looks like he's going to have a coronary. His eyes are bulging. He's running. He's running out of oxygen, but he doesn't care. And he's getting every loose ball. He's a defensive force. They can't score if he's in the lane, and he's getting every putback, every single one. And if the ball's and he's got like an 8-pack. He's absolutely ripped now. And I just credit, that guy has earned everything he's gotten. And just so happy for him. It's inspiring. These fans are ready to give him a standing O.
No more NBA talk.
Okay. So
by the way, Mavs are up 8 with a minute and a half to go.
See, if you talk NBA, then he's allowed to talk NBA. Stop it, Corey. Stop it.
Okay, now.
Corey squared.
Because we're getting nasty, I want to talk about that nasty owner of the Mavericks.
What about him?
She owned a casino, and I heard she wanted to build a casino for the new arena. And Dallas told her, no, you're not building a casino attached to the arena. She said, fine. And then out of spite, she traded their best player. That was the story I just read. Now, it could be that it's, an Instagram lie.
Yeah, I think that's what it is.
But if that's the case, what an evil woman.
Yeah. By the way,
Okay.
he just made a 4-point play, Kachine, so they're back in it. Go ahead, Corey. Off the
So-
NBA. Let's get off the NBA.
Okay. No one has mentioned, I'm sorry, but the level of effort that Kylie Feuerbach put out there on the defensive end, she went nonstop. And I don't discredit her for missing shots. She's probably gassed. I
Get
mean,
in shape.
yeah, but nobody's putting the effort out that she is. Nobody. She is,
You mean on the team currently?
yeah, on defense. She's
On the team currently is what you're saying. Because trust me, it can be done.
No, I'm talking on this team.
Okay.
Kylie Feuerbach burns more calories on that court than anybody. I guarantee you.
Uh-huh.
And
We're gonna
Well,
Sydney's muscle, Kylie's hustle.
You should be agents.
okay, y'all gonna hate me for this. I like Kylie as far as what she gives us defensively, but Kylie is selectively lazy.
No, I don't see that.
Kachine, do
Let
expand.
me expand. Okay?
I'm not buying it. You're gonna have to educate me.
Okay, I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna show you video. I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna show you because there's about 3 or 4 clips on offense where we get the ball, we're transitioning. She's on the wing and she is jogging her ass off. If she would run, we would have a 3-on-1 break, but she's not. She's just chilling.
Okay.
That's selectively lazy to me because you could have an easy layup if you choose to run, but she doesn't run. She only plays hard on defense. She is selectively lazy, like I said. So my only thing is, like I said, I love her on defense. I think she works her butt off. She gives us great things. But the other reason why she gets on my nerves is because of situations like that. She's selectively lazy. Either you're going to all out hustle or you're not. Not half and half. And at this point in time, you should be in shape to play both sides of the ball, not just one.
Yeah.
All right. Let me just say this real quick. It will be interesting to see how people who are watching respond to that because people love to praise you when you compliment Iowa because you're honest, but that's honesty. And I don't even need to see
great on one end. I just see that other side and I'm like, Jesus, Lord, run.
You're not making it up. So
run.
Offensively, she can get a little bit overcome when she's dribbling the ball. And, early in the season, Aaliyah Guyton was so strong dribbling the ball. Now, on press breaks, she's been trying to split a double team and she gets it taken away from her. And that's the only quirk I have with, the nervousness I have when she's been out there the last few games. But I think a girl like her, you just keep playing her. She's going to get through this and she's going to be better for it. And you could never think to bench Guyton because if you did that, there's such a ceiling you would lose. She might come through for this team in the tournament big time. If she can get through this slump, she might be the hero in the end. So I think you keep playing her, and let her get through this. But one more thing that I want to mention because I don't hear it mentioned. Lucy Olson on defense. Do you see the number of tips she gets and the number of kicked balls? I mean, now she's got arms. You've made that point, but she's using those arms.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she's got range.
She takes a lot of space, up a lot of space.
Now, the other thing that was concerning tonight, and I'm worried about it for Ohio State, is on their press, what's the height of their players? Because it seemed like tonight, these guards were long, and when they pressed us and we tried to make the bounce pass, luckily it was a kicking the ball because we you couldn't pass it over them, and you couldn't pass it around them because they're so long. And so that was concerning, especially you get now I'm at a loss.
You're at a loss for words.
Our 3-point specialist that went 0 for 5.
Taylor McCabe.
McCabe. Yeah, I was going to say Teagan. Why was I trying to say Teagan? Anyway, Taylor trying to get rid of that ball. Luckily, it was kicking the ball because she was stuck. She wasn't getting it out of there. It's just concerning. Lucy does this little kind of throws it over her shoulder, kind of a hook shot pass, even over the tall people that are pressing her at times. But with Sid and Lucy, and as far as height, trying to pass it and break a press, if you've got to pass it over someone when you're doubled, that's a tough task. I think Lucy's the only one. But anyway, I just
You love being a Hawk. You just finish it that way. You love being a Hawk. You love it. You love Kirk.
I got this quite. Come on now.
Go ahead.
I've been against you, Corey, on pushing this whole Ava concept. Okay, Cash, if you're coaching this game and Hannah's not getting anything done and Addie's struggling and Ava comes in there and is doing really well, I mean, don't you go with your hot hand? And I would have liked to seen Ava in there a lot more tonight. She seemed to be.
She had 2 fouls in the same possession.
Well, yeah, but beyond that, she was getting position. I think she was just so fast that she could beat them to the spot.
She ain't
And
do nothing though.
well,
she had 2 fouls in the same possession. I'm sorry.
No, she had a great 2-point. She got fouled.
Yeah, in the fourth quarter.
No, she's played
But
well.
I'm saying,
in your defense, Corey, she's played well when she's been given a chance. The 2 fouls in one possession that's just, it happened tonight, but she's played well when she's been given an opportunity. Kachine, can we agree on that? In general, Ava's been good when she's been given an opportunity.
And here's my thing with the refs. People are saying, the refs weren't that bad. If you watched every single time our bigs tried to rebound the ball or tried to box out, their bigs would hook our arm and pull us back. It was like every clockwork, every single time they were hooking and pulling with one side of and Hannah and Addie, they're going for the ball and they're getting pulled back. They couldn't even bring their left arm up because they're getting yanked backwards, and they don't call anything. They don't call anything.
Make an adjustment. Stop trying to hold off somebody with one arm, and then you won't have that problem.
I don't know. I've never seen such, but regardless,
it's injustice is what it is, Corey.
Addie O'Grady twice was running in a free lane of space, and someone ran into the side of her and they call foul on her. I mean, give me a break. And no one watches for that. And so they just see her as though she's big. So it's always on her because the other person fell down. Well, they ran into her. Just because they fell down doesn't mean it's on Addie, because she's a big girl. And it's so frustrating to watch this. But anyway, what do you do to, you have 2 people that are on this team that are scoring. What do you do? What kind of plays can you call to get somebody else going, Cash? You gotta.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not. That sounds crazy, but if Lucy is hitting and one other person is hitting, guess what? That's what we're gonna use. We're gonna ride them to the wheel fall off. If Taylor McCabe, I might give her a play here or there, because you never know what she can come up with. Kylie ain't getting no plays ran for her at all. Hannah, Sure, we could see it may or may not be her game or a Addie, but we're not really Lucy the only person I'm really like gonna run a play for, because Sydney doesn't need anybody to run a play for her. She's gonna create it on her own.
The thing is, it's on tape now. They're going to double Lucy. They're going to do her. All they got to do is shut her down. There's nothing left.
They
And
won't do
so,
that.
what's that?
They won't do that.
They're not going to double her.
No, because
Trap her.
Lucy's not getting her shots because she be wide open. Like it's not because she's making hard shots and she's unstoppable. She's wide open.
Yeah, and so that's going to change. And when that changes, who's going to be the person to take off some of the scoring pressure? Because you're not going to win with this number of points every game. So who's it going to be?
Well, we haven't had like this in a little while, so I'm not stressed over it right now. I mean, at the end of the day, the last couple games, we've had a good amount of people who have helped us and done what we're supposed to do. You are never going to have every night you're going to be on offensively. That's just not a thing. But defensively is what's going to give you the win when you're off offensively, and that's what happened tonight. So, I mean, you're going to have those games. You're not going to shoot great every game. So.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for the show, guys. My back's still hurt, but you guys make it feel better. So
love you, Corey.
We love you guys. Go Hawkeyes. Where's my thumb? Thumbs up.
Go Hawks. Yep.
I'm like number 115.
All right.
Lemansky, I love you, dropping 50 bombs. I just can't hang with you.
Yeah.
I gotta wait till my 401k builds up better than that. So
I appreciate that. Thanks. Right. Let's go to our next. Let's go to our next caller. Okay, let's go to our next caller. But first, Asa with the super chat. I've liked and subscribed now. Y'all got me hooked. It's shot 30 for me now. Cash, you can stay sober if you want to. No pressure.
Shot 30 is crazy. That's all you, Asa. That's enough for me.
All right. Let's go back to our phone line. Thank you for calling Iowa Postgame with Kachine Alexander, who's on the line.
Oh, John.
Hey, John.
Hey, it was a rough game to watch, I tell you.
It wasn't
really rough.
It was not.
Yeah,
pretty.
And what I didn't understand is, like, if I'm a post player and I'm not getting the ball down low and I'm trying to get position, man, come on. I mean, at least throw it down there. I mean, let Addie or Hannah get the ball. I mean, I know Hannah's been driving me nuts lately with those missed layups, but I think that's going to open other things up. I don't know. Again, I've never played college basketball or pro basketball, so I don't know what the heck I'm talking about. But I do think, like, throw it down the post. I mean, I know Addie's got that shot where she can hit from the elbow, where, let somebody go to the hole and then Addie go out for 15 feet. I mean, but I only saw two players really play. I shouldn't say that, but play really well.
Well, they missed a lot of shots around the rim, John. That's part of the problem. When some of the bigs have gotten shots down there, they're missing around the rim. At least they did tonight.
Oh, I know they did tonight. I agree with Cash the other day. If Hannah takes her time on those shots down low instead of just throwing it up there, she's gonna make them. But I think that throw it down low instead of running around the perimeter a little more, just a few times. And anyway, it was a rough game to watch. Rough game. But thanks. Go Hawks.
Win is a win, right, John?
It sure is.
Yeah, win's a win.
All right, sir. Appreciate the phone call.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, we'll talk to you
Thank
later.
you.
Talk to you Monday. All right.
I just feel tough games to watch even when Caitlin was here, though.
Yeah.
So
I don't know why I'm laughing so much.
You think it's hilarious today?
I just think everything's hilarious tonight. I called somebody earlier, older family friend. I called somebody earlier today, and I was laughing so much. He said, "Are you drunk?" I said, "I haven't." He knows I don't get drunk, but I don't know. I'm just in that mood, so I got to go to the gym after this. I've got energy to burn, Cash. I'm going to the gym after we're done here. You going to the gym? You going to hit the gym when you're done here? It's
I'm gonna be in my bed.
11 p.m. your time.
Yeah.
Right now. So it's time to get to the gym. How's volleyball going? I mean, I know how it's going. You've told me.
I won a championship yesterday.
And now you're starting a new league.
In 2 weeks.
I thought you just started a league. You just started a league the other night.
So there's two. There's a co-ed league where it's men and women on the team. And then the women's league is the champion. Well, I've won both. But the women's league was yesterday. And then that starts back up in 2 weeks. The co-ed league started up a couple weeks ago.
So I don't think, I think you've got your fill
all year round.
All year round.
I got to get my athlete itch somehow.
Yep.
Because basketball, I'm retired.
Well, as Juliana gets older and older, being a mom will be,
there you go.
Fill some of that.
I'll coach her up.
The physical exertion. Yeah, absolutely. Folks, if you're interested in sponsorship for any of our segments, we are looking to expand our base. You can reach out to me, info@fromthehawkeyeofthestorm.com. Again, that's info@fromthehawkeyeofthestorm.com. You can also donate by means of PayPal, Venmo, Cash App, etc. Let's go quick fire on Ohio State. Before we do that, super chat from Stavros. He says, he or she says, Kylie needs to play D and run to the rim. She is not and never has been a shooter. She is shooting under 30% from three. The team and Kyler herself use her wrong on offense. How much do you agree with that, Kachine?
I agree.
Say it again.
I agree.
You agree? Okay. Rhonda, she says she loves the show. It's so nice to recap the game right afterward. Look forward to seeing each game, or seeing us each game. So thank you, Rhonda. That's always good to hear. Somebody who's not being sarcastic or.
I mean,
John, why are the freshmen playing?
I don't understand that. I saw it earlier and I was like, huh?
Well,
I don't know what that means.
I think he's saying the freshmen aren't worth playing, but
who is then?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they don't have the players.
They don't have a bench.
They also have had
the freshmen.
They've had games where they've been close because of the freshmen, or they've won games in large part due to freshman production. There have been Aaliyah Guyton games. There have been a couple of games where Taylor Sturm was a big
There's
part.
another crazy one somewhere in there. I don't remember where it was, but I was like, huh?
Ava was playing a lot earlier in the year before they moved Hannah to the 5. She was playing a lot. All right, this commenter says every time Corey talks, first of all, spell my name right. There's no E. Every time Corey talks about the NBA, he should be forced to broadcast an extra 10 minutes. The first time he's up when the sun rises, he'll stop. Yeah, it's that much. Okay, let's go quick fire on Ohio State, Cash. The Hawkeyes and the Buckeyes, it's the 9th ranked Buckeyes, although the new rankings will come out. What do they come out on Monday or Sunday? One of the two. But this is a top 10 Buckeye team, and the Hawkeyes have their hands full. 11 a.m. Central Time on President's Day. It'll be broadcast live on Fox. You talked about Cody McMahon earlier, but they're a physical team. They're a scrappy bunch. They gave Caitlin Clark and that Hawkeye team fits over the last couple of seasons. What does Iowa need to do to give themselves a chance and presumably stay close enough to where you can maybe win a close game in the 4th?
Limit your turnovers, handle the press. That's like a slash. Limit turnovers, handle the press. That's all in one. Rebound the basketball, shoot well.
Okay.
Simple,
Remember,
right?
They didn't shoot great against USC after you said they needed to. They didn't shoot the ball great. Now they made
a lot of defense though.
They played great defense, and as Pierre brings up, Cody McMahon is a challenge. And I'm assuming that's going to be a Sid a Falter assignment, correct? Given position?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Which also scares the hell out of me. But keep going.
Why?
Because we can't afford to sit for Sid to get in foul trouble. And I'm pretty sure Ohio State knows that. So they're going to run specific plays to isolate her on defense.
Cannot afford to have Tegan Mulaney trying to guard Cody.
No. Oh, my God. We're going zone.
Okay.
What are you talking about? We're going zone. Zone.
Oh, all right. David.
If that was the case, Coach J needs to. I love her, but if she ever allowed Tegan Mulaney to play that Cody one-on-one and not go zone, she needs to be fired immediately. Because there's no way. There's no way. Immediately. Pitchforks out. Okay? Like, what? That's
Okay.
crazy.
Yeah, I just wanted to pull up Cody McMahon's stats just so I have an idea of what we're working with here. She's averaging 16 points per game, 5 rebounds. It's actually a rebounding total is lower than I would have anticipated, Cash.
I agree.
So that's interesting. So one would think maybe an advantage to Sydney Falter there. If you're talking about 4 versus 4, Cody's got a bit of a size advantage and is probably more physically gifted than Sydney, but she doesn't, based on the numbers, I haven't seen her play much this year. She doesn't rebound the ball particularly well. That's a pretty experienced group, right? Between like, is it Thierry or Thierry? I recognize her from.
And they have the transfer from Oregon too. She's a shooter, boy.
Talking about Cambridge, or are we talking about Gray?
Gray.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Cambridge is a freshman. Yeah, Gray.
I think she had like 7 threes in a game or 9 threes in a game this year. Like, what?
Yeah, she's averaging 14 points per game, 2 rebounds. Are you sure that's who we're talking about? Because she's a native of Cincinnati.
Yeah, she went to Oregon.
She went to Oregon first, and then she came to.
Yeah, and she transferred back.
Okay, all
First
right.
year here.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
All right, folks. Let's see. A couple more comments here. We'll wrap things up. If Ohio State plays bully ball, might be time to see more Ava. She is strong.
It's not the bully ball from the post, though. Let's make that clear. It's from the guards.
Yeah, I was going to say it's around the wing.
Yeah.
Wings. Patrick says, I like Hannah defensively against Cody McMahon. Seems built to really challenge her. But she's not their 5.
She's not their 5. I would have to see who their 5 is to see if there's a way around that. I don't know that answer, but we're gonna have to think about our options. We're gonna be playing zone. That's just what it is. But you got to make sure you know where Chelsea Gray. Well, not Gray. Chelsea. What's her name? Gray.
AJ Petty. Is she their 5? She's 6'3", senior out of Baltimore, averaging 10 and 7.
I don't know if that name sounds familiar. Hold on, let me look. Keep going.
And yeah, Thierry is 6'1" from Cleveland.
Thierry.
How do you pronounce her name?
Thierry. You said it right.
Okay. So, Patrick, thank you for the super chat. UCLA is a bad matchup for everyone.
Yeah, it's petty. Oh, and you got Cambridge, the freshman. She's a bucket too.
She's I believe their 2nd or 3rd leading scorer.
Mm-hmm.
Patrick says UCLA is a bad matchup for everyone. Do we match up better or worse than other teams? Asking now since Kachine might be missing the Ohio State postgame.
He said UCLA is a bad matchup.
My guess is you're going to say Iowa matches up worse than most teams, especially with Hannah having to play the 5. Is that fair?
Here's the thing. There's always a plus and a minus. We match up bad to UCLA because everybody does. The girl is 6'7", right? But on the other hand, Hannah has got to run. Like, that should be the whole main focus. Run. But Hannah can't be the only one running because then the guards can cover Hannah if she runs and we don't have anything on the perimeter. So our guards have to run just as hard. Because if our guards and Hannah runs, if they try to pick up Hannah, then you have an open 3 on the wing. If they stick on the wing, then you got Hannah running down the middle. Everybody's got to run.
Real quick, can I just ask you totally
Non-related.
Unrelated. Did you see the moment that I posted on Twitter? Maybe you saw it live when it happened post game with Lucy and Herky. Did you see this?
I did not see it.
You didn't see this? Can I share this real quick for anybody that doesn't follow me on social media? I'll just share the video of this because when I saw it, I just had to show it. Let me gear this up because I was not prepared to do this. Folks, if you missed this moment post game as Jan Jensen's getting interviewed on the Big Ten Plus broadcast, this is what's happening in the corner of the screen.
Oh my God.
What do you have to say when you see this, Kachine? Is there anything that goes through your mind when you see? I think this is good. This is one of the greatest moments I've ever seen.
Gotta love her. That's all I gotta say.
She is so different than.
She is a very different kid.
She really is. And in some ways, it's so refreshing. I really do believe that. It's just, I don't know. Had to share that on social media when I saw it live. And anyways, folks, I mentioned this earlier, but be sure you purchase your Cooper DeJean Eagles shirt. And you can do so over at rtithreads.com/NIL. We'll show you the website here in just a second, but this is a way you can celebrate one of our great sponsors and one of the great Iowa athletes that's come out of small town Iowa, especially Western Iowa. So many great ones in Hawkeye land now. And he's an alum that will go down probably in Eagle lore with that pick six on Sunday to help the Eagles to a Super Bowl victory. Again, rtithreads.com/NIL, or you can see the website up on the screen. It's also in the description. Our RTI Threads player of the game tonight, Lucy Olson, had 27 points, 11 of 19 from the field, 4 of 5 from 3. Also had 4 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals. And Kachine, you have kind of just said, hey, she's finally comfortable in this system and she's putting the team on her back. Is there anything else that you have seen or observed that has made you think that something is there a point where it clicked for her? Because it does seem like.
Sure, there's a point that it clicked. I'm just saying why it clicked. I don't know when it was, but she finally felt comfortable.
Good stuff. Folks, here is the website. Last thing before we sign off tonight, here is the RTI Threads website. This is the NIL division. You can shop your favorite Hawkeyes, Josh Dix, Owen Freeman. You can customize your apparel, your merchandise, get your stocking caps for this time of year. And you can also shop Cooper DeJean's apparel line, even his Hawkeye apparel line. So not just the Eagles shirt. Here is the Coop shirt that's officially licensed and part of the RTI Threads family of gear. But you can also shop his Hawkeye gear. It wasn't a fair catch. All his special teams theatrics that will forever be remembered as one of his great moments, or I should say a number of his different moments, whether that be the game against Minnesota, the touchdown return or punt return for a touchdown against Michigan State, etc. You can get your quarter zips, your t-shirts, your hoodies, everything available over at rtithreads.com, and then click on your favorite athlete. Again, courtesy of our friends over in North Sioux City. That's RTI Threads. Hawkeyes and Buckeyes this coming Sunday again, Monday, 11 a.m. Central Time on Fox. I will be with you, and we'll see if we can get someone to fill in for Kachine Alexander, because she will be slaving away, working hard, and I'll be slaving away here on the show. So, Kachine, always good to have you. Always a pleasure, and especially when we're talking about a Hawkeye win. And perhaps we'll talk to you after UCLA. All right, folks. For Cash, I'm Corey. We'll talk to you soon.